Okay, I think we can start. Great to be here. Thank you for this very warm introduction. So yes, exactly what we wanted to tell you today. It's our story, our case studies that we with a local NGO from Poland, and we actually this is our first approach to applying the enterprise design in the NGOs and for the startups. So this is really interesting story for us as well. It was our journey was really cool. So basically, we are enterprise design associate in Poland. I know Milan for a long time, and later on, I always follow his work and the model, and taking out learning from it to my own work. We together with Henryk open up our agency, digital agency called Together, TGTH, and we are. I have 14 years of being an experienced designer, working for different corporation. 5 years ago, we opened this organization, and we kind of have currently we're based in Warsaw, but maybe soon it will be as well in the Middle East. But this is the different story. As well, I work with a Google for Startup community where I'm helping the startups, deliver great impact to their customers and basically scaling and kind of working on their experience.
And my name is Henryk, and I have a background in the strategy and marketing, and over the last 10 years I'm using design methods to help with to cope with the business challenges. And my main responsibility in my organization is to help companies to cope with digital transformation and to apply new methods to accelerate the change. And we are together, and we believe that it's the best way to work in a well-matched team in finding the solutions. So we believe in, of course, workshopping and building the teams that are helping each other to reach the best solutions. And today we'll share an interesting case of NGO. It's called Centrum Cyfrowe. It's digital center in English. And this is this small organization. It was founded 10 years ago. Basically, at the beginning, they were just representatives in Poland of Creative Commons community. And through the years, they started different projects helping the museums, cultural institutions into digital transformation, helping them to adapt to the changes, and as well they are responsible for setting new tools of this modern society and to understand how the technology is changing the society in Poland and as well in Europe. And we were approached by the CEO of this organization, Alek Tarkowski, who asked us how they should communicate, because over the years they developed so different, so various messages and different projects, and so they are not quite sure. They were not quite sure what is the main story.
So yes, and when we were starting talking with them, with him, we find out that the brand and how they want to commit, it's not only the problem that they have. When we were asking like, okay, what's your identity and so on, they couldn't like really respond for our cool questions. So we tell them like, okay, we have this cool model that's called enterprise design, and we wanted to show it to you and take you on the journey with us with a little bit extended view of your organization. So of course we wanted to start with the brand when we wanted to get to the point where to answer his specific brief, but we tell them like, oh, okay, let's do one step back and show them that the brand is connected with the identity, that we have to think about it, and they need to kind of find out what the purpose, what they have this organization, and as well as we know that their identity is like connected with the organization, so we wanted to find the insights about this, about them, and kind of work with those insights to get to the brand and get to the information how they want to communicate with the client. So that was our journey, and this is the tools that we kind of used.
Yeah, we today we'll focus on different tools that we use in the project. We think that this is the very important part, how we adapt this enterprise design set of tools to understand the organization, understand the brand image of this organization, and then design this new organization as well the new story of it. And we'll just go deep into each of the tool we used.
Yes, so we started with the organization, and what we wanted to find out is to like find the strong and weak parts of this NGO. So we took the assessment survey that we find it on the enterprise design webpage, and we translated and changed it a little bit, and shared with all of the employees and the board member of this NGO to find out what they're thinking about themselves. And on what was interesting is that from one point of view, none of them really believed that this organization working well. So they have some issues related with how they communicate with each other, how it's performing as an organization, as a teams, and so on. But on the other hand, all of them believe that the work that they do brings a lot of value to the clients, to the people, and they like with how they're using the new technology. For example, the approach to this new technology, they think about themselves that they are really ahead of everybody in the market. So that was kind of interesting from like a value perspective, that they believe that they bring the value, but on the other hand, the organization didn't perceive as well.
Exactly. So they wasn't sure what is their purpose and what's their main role, but same time they did a lot of interesting projects, and they were like changing the society here in Poland as well, sometimes also in Europe. So that's why we took the recent projects and asked the audience, the customers or users, I can say it. So the people that are in contact with them, and we ask those associates about the top projects of the NGOs, and ask them about the attractiveness and the impact this project has in the society. So we go through all the projects. Here you can see that there is some projects that were noted as influential and changing the society. Some was rated less, but we find out that they are really valued on Polish market, the Polish community, for projects that were highly specialized, very expert one, not those that was for most broad audience, but those that was very specific to the narrow, sometimes niche or geeky group of recipients, but they are really valued by the community for those projects. And so we want to understand how they are succeed with these projects, how they can do such a valuable project, and that's why we discussed all the competencies or the tasks they perform. We go through the tasks they perform and ask them what are the tasks that are for them attractive, what are the tasks that are too difficult for them. And then when we have the list of these tasks, we did a survey among the employees and the board members and ask all of them how they evaluate this competencies. So what are the competencies that are most attractive for them to perform, and what are the most difficult one? And we find out that they really like to work with the people, with the society, conducting the research, doing all the creative work related with their job, but maybe, of course, they don't like the finance management, they don't like project management and fundraising. But as a team, they feel that the most attractive part of their job is to working with the society and addressing this change is happening around.
Yes, so we had these two perspectives. One say like inside the organization, how do they believe that they are good on and how they want to work, and the perspective from like the customers, the organization that they work with, and like how do they value them. So we kind of wanted to combine those two perspectives and kind of work with them on the workshop during the workshops to find out how they could be, coherent in the future. So how we did it, we just organized a workshop with them, and first of all, like brainstorming lots of trends that are influenced them and their organization that is happening around the world right now, and how those trends, how those changes in the societies, how we can transfer them to the different scenarios of the future. And with these different scenarios of the future, what we wanted to do is to tell them, like, okay, place yourself in it and place your organization in it, and just tell us what this organization will do in these situations. And what we find out, that the most common one and the most interesting for them is the focusing on this social aspect of digital transformation. So basically, how this digital world, how the digital companies and the things that can more and more digitalize will influence the society and the behaviors of the society in it. So that was kind of really common goal that all of those people find it out, and they wanted to do it. So that was interesting for us.
As we find out that the domain should be this digital transformation and the aspect of the social aspects of this transformation. So how the society should adapt to this technology, or can adapt to this technology's changes. We then have interviews with some of them key recipients of the projects and companies or institutions they work with. So the experts from universities and and journalists as well, the experts from journalists, politics, and cultural institutions like theaters, museums, and education institutions. So with those segments, we discuss the brand image of the organization to understand how this brand, this NGO's brand, is capable to help with this social changes in digital transformation. And we find out they actually have very distinctive image, and that they're really perceived as experts in this digital transformation, and that they're really perceived as a company that's helping with this institution. Some of these institutions are quite old and not adapted to the changes, but this NGOs help this organization with the change. And we also find out that our respondents perceive this NGOs as a woman, and then we discuss with the team the personality of this brand, of these NGOs, and they feel that the personality is the brave one, this brave in thinking and doing, this personality like maybe Everdeen, that is protecting society, protecting others, or like open eyes for others, like the Alice in Wonderland, or like Iris Skłodowska as a famous scientist here in Poland, and that was female representative in the very male field, as the company NGOs is in the technology field here in Poland. And we find out all these aspects of the image and of the competencies of this, what they are good in and what they are like should communicate, and based on it we design the story. It's the story, what they should tell the audience and what they should focus on in their communication. So we find the 3 goals here that should be navigating all their communication. So the first goal is about this creating vision that is a shared vision for experts from different fields, vision of the technology and the society and the relation of it. Second goal was to educate those working in this cultural institutions that are coping with this, trying to cope with this digital change, and educate them how this transformation could go in the good direction. What is the way to perform this transformation? And the third goal of this communication, third element of the story, was to explain to the broad audience, explain new technologies, all the possibilities, but also all the threats related with the new technologies. So we find out these three aspects they can and should focus on during their communication.
Yes. So when we had this story, when we had this like identity and kind of figure out how they work and how they operate. Now we can think about the brand and how this brand can tell this story. So we came up with different concepts, directions, how the communication that they could select it based on everything that we gather, and even designed like the messages that they can share on the social media and in the marketing campaigns. And when we were doing this, we were thinking that we can go a little bit even more than this. So we look at the model and we know that the brand is connected with the experience. So we were decided that let's try to put this brand into the journey. So we for all of those. So we gather all of the information that we have through this research, needs for the recipients, communication channels that we were using, actions, behavior of the recipient with the relationship with the Centrum Cyfrowe, with our NGO, action that we want to be taken by the organization, and level of satisfaction that we hope that we will get. And we kind of designed the customer journey with for all of these 3 communication goals. That describes interaction. This participant, the communication receiver, and describe the interaction with the brand, with the Centrum Cyfrowe brand, on each level of engagement with them. So on the kind of fun level. So and we shared with them this information with kind of description. Okay, how do they should behave, and so they know what's the roadmap should look like. And yes, and so at the end of this entire project, we kind of took all of these insights and we put some kind of in like a canvas that we created that kind of remind them like how we get to this journey, how we determine this communication and messages that we wanted to send to them, to show them like, okay, to kind of visualize this entire journey. And what I think it's important, and why for us why it was so cool to use this methodology and go with them through this entire process, was that I think at the end they realize why those facets are interconnected, and why when we discussing at the beginning about the inside things in their organization, how do they communicate and how do they perceive, how it's actually at the end end up with this and reflects in the brand and the message. So that was for us was really rewarding, that at the end all of those employees and the board member kind of agree with us that that was the perfect journey, and this is the journey that lead us to this point. And without those steps before, they couldn't get to the point where we took them. And that's pretty much it.
We even printed this as a poster and sent them to the office, but unfortunately they are not in their office right now. But soon when they come back, and maybe they will can also have it on the wall. But yeah, so this is something that summarizes all these findings, and also we hope we'll navigate the future communication as well as the internal activities, the internal change they have to like back this initiative, the communication initiative, back with the real actions inside the organization.
Yeah, one more thing that I wanted to add it. Even like when we discussing this organization, at the end of the process, some of those people actually decided that this is not the organization that they want to be with, because they said like, okay, the things they like it, but they decide like, okay, this is not the purpose that I wanted to go. They actually changed. They did some kind of internal pivot of themselves on their career, and they changed, switched to different one, which was a good thing, because at the end the team was much more coherent with the goals of what they wanted to do and so on. So that was cool.
So thank you very much. This is the very fast case of this process, and we are now open for your questions now or later. Please approach us if you on LinkedIn or something or anywhere. If you have any question, or do you think that we can somehow help you with your project to use the methodology in it.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Henryk and Bartosz. Really appreciated that. And the last comment you made about people who actually arriving at the conclusion that leaving might be the best way forward for them, really resonates with what Naomi was talking about earlier today. So thank you so much for that. There are questions for you, of course there are, and I'll be reading some from the chat. Naomi actually is first one out the gate, asking about how did you think about courage or being courageous as a designable organizational characteristic?
Very good question. Thank you very much. And this is an organization that they are in the very difficult of this society, because they are between the civic society and the technological organization, and then they collaborate with European Union as well as IBM or Google. So the courage here is to set up the discussion between these two sides of the barricade, to just make this discussion between these two sides and help these two sides to find the solutions. So the courage here is more about being open to present some new solutions, as well as open to some critique from these two sides, because sometimes they're too rebel for the corporate clients or audience, but they are too weak for this civil part of the audience. So this is the courage in this field, I think.
And as well, like Henryk says, like we have a huge organization like IBM or like Google, and then we have this European Union, which is huge organization, and they're like a small company with lots of like very brave people that they just basically they are standing for the society, and this is what they wanted to do. So in this discussion, the courage here as well is to just not afraid to speak up and just say like this will not agree on, or this we need to kind of change or something like this. So that's one of the things that you have in mind. And
I think that also bridges very nicely to Curtis's question, who's asking about who resisted the approach, if anybody, and if you had any pushback, where did it come from?
Oh, there's for sure there's resistance at the beginning, because they thought that they need only like communication strategy. So they just need the strategy in what they should communicate, what they should put on the Facebook. But then we find out that there is this doubt in the purpose of the organization among the employees, and when but the beginning, the board members thought that the vision of the organization is clear and they know what to do, and they don't need to dig into competencies and the organization tasks and so on, that this is something that is not useful. Then after the first results we got, and we find out there are people that think that the purpose is not clear, that there are some tasks that they not perform well, the board members agreed that yes, there was a problem also with organization. But at the beginning they were like, okay, we need just communication, just tell us what we should say in social media.
And when you can think about it, like like dipping into the to the part of this identity, it's like straightforward, close to the thinking about the brand, but thinking about the organization itself, how it kind of work, and what's the what the people thinking inside of it, how do they perceive themselves. It's a little bit of stretch. So at the beginning they didn't really wanted to even think like why we are doing this, why we're wasting our time on that. This is not what we wanted to have. We don't want to kind of change ourselves. But at the end, like they can realize that they cannot just do anything like it's super coherent and what they wanted to achieve at the end without the dealing with the uncertainty that they have inside of the organization. So that was for us was really cool that to show it to them.
That's very nice. We're going to go to Henryk. He has a question about feedback. So Henryk is wondering, is there a feedback loop in this process beyond the perceived alignment?
We are still working on the last part of the communication. So the communication is not already launched. The first approach to the the style guide of the company. So we just finished the project right now. But yes, we had the feedback loop during the process. So we have interviews with audience, with different stakeholders. So we just present our ideas. First of all, we present our ideas for the mission and for the story. So for the main idea of the organization, and then we present the ideas for communication and design style. And yes, we after each of these tests, we have the opportunity to change a little bit our approach and to like find the sweet spot how to communicate the organization.
That's great. Bulent has a question about inspiration. He asks, what are the top sources of inspiration for your approach?
Oh, Milan is the first and the most. But maybe Bartosz can answer it in a more elaborate way.
Yeah. So this, I think it's really hard to select like one or two to say it. In general, what we wanted to do is what we actually. At the beginning of the project, we believed that this is like perfect project to actually apply the enterprise design, and this is what we were discussing. Like, okay, let's show them like this what's the enterprise is, even from the perspective that they are small organization, and like in the small organization, it's even easier a little bit to show all of those elements that are kind of influencing each other than in like a huge corporation, which sometimes. People don't even know that someone else exists and what they are doing. So yeah, that's true.
I also have to add that last year conference in Lisbon was like huge inspiration for me. After it, I need to have a project that implement the enterprise design stack, and yes, I think that's for me that was a very important moment, because I know the methodology before and we used it before, but after I saw all these cases in the Lisbon intersection, I have the vision how to apply this in this project, because it was tricky one. The project was tricky one, as it was like small company and NGOs, so it was not so easy to implement it at the first.
I mean, that's a glorious way to wrap this session up, I think. And what an homage and a compliment to the works of Dennis and Milan and everybody else, and Wolfgang and everybody else who's driving this platform forward. And it's also really heartwarming to refer back to Lisbon, where I met you all before and really had a great time with you. So I'm glad that those gatherings have inspired also very much business-oriented outcomes like you have proved to us today. So Bartosz and Henryk, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.